February the 25th at 7 p.m. Tonight's a regular city council meeting. I want to thank everybody for being here. Mary Castillo will not be at the meeting tonight. She is not feeling well. I'm going to ask Mr. Fred Gonzalez to lead us in prayer for tonight's meeting. Will you please stand?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask once again that you be with us. First and foremost, we thank you for all your blessings and for being with us in these difficult times. We ask that you guide all of us in Floresville and surrounding areas, and specifically guide those who are our leaders, who are commissioned to do work for us, that we may be enlightened, and see the things that we need to do in a fair and even way. Give us the strength and the guidance to work together towards a common end, and that is the best town that we can have for the citizens of Floresville. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We do have a quorum present, Mr. Miller, Mr. Nieto, Mr. Ortiz, and myself. Let's together recite the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas Pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Again, I want to thank everybody for being here on a Thursday night. I'm going to ask for any citizens' comments. If there's any topic that needs to be addressed that's not on the agenda. Okay. If there are no citizens' comments, we'll move on to old business. Number 1 being consideration and action to approve meeting minutes from the special meeting on January the 11th. Council, it's in your packet. Let's take a moment to review the minutes. Make any changes that we see fit, and then let's make a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to move to table these minutes. The minutes are the only written record of these meetings after they've closed, and these minutes are incomplete. And for example, and have sentences that make absolutely no sense whatsoever in them. But as far as the inaccuracies, under new business, it says the city attorney explains the reasons for this special meeting was to correct some procedural issues that occurred with the amendment that were passed on ordinance 2015-033 on Thursday, January 7, 2016. Nowhere in there does it say that the ordinance that was passed was unconstitutional. I could go on. I think we need to look to a better template for these meeting minutes. We have things in here that don't need to be in meeting minutes, and we are omitting things like points of order and those questions that have been raised. So again, I'm going to move to table these.
Council, any other discussion?
Who's going to provide this template, Councilman Miller?
There's several available. Robert's Rules of Order is what we have chosen for procedure. Robert's Rules of Order provides a number of minute templates and guidelines to say what has to be in meeting minutes and what doesn't have to be in meeting minutes.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table a minute approval. Is there a second to that?
I second the motion.
All in favor say aye. Raise your right hand, I guess. Vote is 4-0, Madam Secretary. And on the second item, Madam Secretary, I don't see the minutes
If
in
they're
the,
not in there, I did not finish them, so we can just, you can table it or.
Move to table.
second to that, Council?
A second?
All in favor, raise your right hand. 4-0. Okay, we'll move on to the second part of the meeting, the presentations and discussions. Our comptroller is with us tonight to give us the financial updates.
And Mayor Pro Tem, there are copies of the executive overview on the back table for the public. If they
Okay. There's copies of the presentation on the back table if everybody cares to pick up a copy.
Good evening, Councilman.
Good evening.
I'm here to present financials for the month of January 31st, 2016. As has been my routine, I'd like to present the two major funds. General fund, for this year, revenue collected was $1,323,825. Expenditures year to date were $1,172,854. With a remaining balance on the budget of $2,901,966, which represents 28% of the budget for general fund. Water fund, current revenues are $467,158. Current expenditures are $423,294, leaving us a balance on the budget of $988,708, which represents 29%, almost 30% of the budget for that fund. And if you look at the column on the middle on the fund balance portion, that gives you revenues, a balance of revenues minus expenditures. So for general fund, we had an increase of $159,771 on revenues. For Fund 221, we had $43,865 increase on revenue. For the wastewater, Fund 222, year-to-date revenues were $302,642. Year-to-date expenditures were $276,664, leaving us a balance for against budget of $945,445,000, which represents 22.64 of the budget. On the fund balance part, we have a $25,977 increase on revenue. On the month of January for sales tax, total collections were $242,601. City collect allocation is $121,301, which is still a decrease of $12,172. I'm still yet to see an increase on sales tax at any given month. This will conclude my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Could you talk a little bit about the hotel motel fund? How is that going because of the drop in Eagle Ford activity?
Let me look at the actual report.
What fund number is that?
That will be 400.
That's not in the package.
Yes, it is.
Mine goes from 331 to 415.
I provide.
You know what page it is?
Well, each fund is numbered separately, so on your revenues, it starts with number 1. Okay, on the hotel motel tax, revenue estimated to be collected for this year were $300,000. And that's more or less what we have been trending. So far, we have only collected 54,665. We are not even close to what we had estimated to collect on hotel motel tax for this year.
That's 300 over 12 months.
Yes.
So at what pace are we looking at for the year then? If that trend still stays constant?
It never stays constant on the hotel motel tax. Of course, the decrease on the oil people has made a big impact on the hotel motel tax. I need to do a little more evaluation on the trend. Obviously, we are not gonna meet the $300,000 that we have anticipated.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that, Connie and Henrietta, because last year we helped out different organizations,
Yes.
the Peanut Festival, the Cycle Ranch, the Balloon Fest, different things with the hotel motel tax. So that's what I'm asking, what is the trend? Are we gonna be, 75% of our expected budget, or what are we looking at? Before, and then also we have a sign that we had budgeted also.
Yes, sir, we had a sign that we had budgeted for the hotel motel tax to be used,
Right.
as well as we're taking some staff money out of that. But just to
Yeah,
reiterate,
exactly, staff
we
also.
did have a reserve, and we had spent some money for some time. And we do have a reserve that we are anticipating using and have budgeted for. But that's one of the reasons why we have not gone forward with the sign, because a lot of the money, I think $116,000, we had allocated to pay for the engineering and other costs to go along with the lawsuit money to fix it up. So we did that. And so as we're gonna be looking at probably at our next budget amendment, halfway through the budget, because we look at it again to start looking at where it's trending and where it's coming, because we've been tracking sales tax so closely, but you're right. The hotel motel taxes are affected as well. And so we need to see where the shortfall may or may not come, hopefully not too short, but we do have a large pool to begin with. So we shouldn't have any problem. I believe I did speak to the chairman of the Visitors and Travelers Bureau and, committee, and they anticipate the Balloon Fest coming before them again, as well as the Peanut Festival coming before, and I believe that's coming up on their agenda very soon. So those are funds, and we'll be able to look at that, and hopefully we can come back with a report on the hotel motel tax.
On the reserve that she's talking about, it's on the same page.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, and it will be under the columns, they are labeled fund balance, and your beginning balance unaudited, of course, because we still haven't finished the audit. For the hotel is $465,788 that was already there.
Okay, so that's what we brought into this fiscal year?
Ending 2015.
Yeah.
September 2015, yes.
Connie, on your numbers, I know it says as of January 31st, 2016, but is that completely accurate for the hotel motel fund? Is that, for the first quarter of the year?
First 4 months.
Or first 4
They-
months, I'm sorry, yeah.
We're collecting monthly on their returns, and now that it has been done through Muni Services, they have a website available. The only hotel that I know for a fact that they're still sending us checks is La Quinta Inn. But everybody else is doing online reporting on a monthly basis.
Well, that's what I'm saying, this number here, the 54,665, does that reflect 4 months of collection? Or is that only 3 months?
It's 4 months,
I'll-
it's through January 31st.
Yeah, but I want to go ahead and say that it's 3 months.
That's what I'm saying, 'cause they don't always,
Yes.
it's not always on time, so.
No, it's not.
But October would be the same way we'd be collecting for September, so
September.
it's 4 months worth of collection.
Yes, but you have a total of 3 months, whether if it's October to December or September to November, or, it will be a 3-month more accurate answer to it.
Would it be safe to say, if we're 33.33% through the year, and we've collected 18.22%, that we're 15% down? I mean, I can do that math. If we continue at this rate, we're gonna be 45% down at the end of the year, which is $135,000. That's the shortfall at the current rate that it's doing. Now, I realize that there are some months that are better than other months, but just as a raw number, that's $135,000 shortfall.
And that is expected because we had a lot of the oil people that left, and they left early in the year. And I mean early, it will be like the first 3 months, including June, July, August, September, October, where all these people left. So that has had an impact on the hotel motel collection. Any more questions?
Council, any more questions for our comptroller?
As I was going through, I was looking at the percentage of budget and was noticing the overtime for the event center was already at over 100% in overtime for the event center. Is that something that we're gonna need to be adjusting for?
Well, if you allow me, Gabriel, well, the person that is in the Civic Center, he was used also for the tornado. And he has been used to help the guys out there. Sometimes he gets scheduled to be at the dump. So that generates more of the overtime for him. But we're hoping that once we get the FEMA money, we're gonna go ahead and recuperate all of that overtime that we have spent on it.
Thank you.
Connie, yes, it's not only the civic center, it's the water and the streets.
Yes.
So it's, you know,
All the departments are
Exactly.
suffering right now, even police
Exactly.
department.
right.
It's
Exactly,
suffering right now on overtime, and that's the reason, because we have been using them, and then the tornado, it generated a lot of overtime. We
Yeah.
had a total of about 5 to 6 days where they were working 10, 15 hours.
Right. And it's been capped off, you know, to the max. Overtime.
Okay,
No.
yeah, that will be something that we can look at.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll move on to updates. Our operations director, thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
Council, good evening. David Vasquez, Operations Director, giving you a brief update on Public Works Department, what we're working on and what we've been working on since I've been here. One of the things, main thing is the street maintenance program. We had M&S Engineering do this for us, and we contracted House Paving to start the process of reconstructing some of our streets and chip sealings. And currently where we're at is what's been milled, what's considered milled or base replaced. We're at C Street between 1st and 11th, and also at 8th Street between D Street and E Street. That's actually removing about approximately 8 inches of base, which is, some people would understand it to be caliche. So that's been removed, and right now we're in the process of having that tested through a testing firm to make sure that it's been compacted as necessary before we actually place the paving on top of that.
Mr. Vasquez, what are you doing with stuff that's being picked up from the streets, gravel and things? Can somebody use that again?
What we're doing right now is currently having it staged at our city storage area for us to use as for the city itself.
So it can be used again?
Yes, what we're looking to is for facility areas based on the quality of it, we may use it back on our streets, or if it's not as good of a quality, we'll use it more like in the areas of, just to give an example, like our wastewater treatment area within our fenced area, our controlled area, we would place that as base for roads to move around for us. Also within our water wells, within our property, something that's not used by the public, that we would utilize that material. So that's the intent there with that material. The other thing we have is we're prepping for the chip seal part area. Where they're at right now is also at C Street between 1st and South 4th. Also Railroad between 2nd and 3rd Street. Goliad from Trail to approximately about right in front of the wastewater treatment plant. And then also First Street in between Plum and Peach Street. And that's what we're doing in the street maintenance right now, part of the program. One of the things we're looking to do is, as I mentioned there, is for our residents, we're trying to give them at least a 2-day notice when we're in the area. Actually starting the construction, that's not meaning the prep work. This is more when we actually have more heavy equipment that looking to change traffic or disrupt traffic flow. With that, also again, we're looking at anticipation based on the contract was to have this completed by April of 2016. We're still on target is my understanding, so that's where we're at. Is there any questions on the street maintenance?
Yes, sir, Mr. Vasquez, you talk about C Street between First and Fourth Street.
Yes.
Right downtown, that street's been paved so many times that on the south side of the street, the road is at the curb level. So when it rains, many of the businesses are being flooded. If we're gonna go over this again and not remove anything, we're gonna exacerbate that flooding. Has that been considered in that?
It's something that I'm not aware of, but I will look into, Councilman.
And I think that's been brought up, even just the recent rain that we had was very little rain in comparison. And the water was well above the sidewalk and pooled there by morning.
Okay. I appreciate the input.
Where on C Street, Jim?
Right in front of Wilson County News.
Okay, so between third
Yeah, right there.
But that's not, I don't think that's the area where we're looking at.
Okay, it's,
So
South
C Street,
Southport. I didn't see the south, I'm sorry.
yes, sir.
No, it's going down.
Yes, on the other side.
Wait, wait.
What is the A Street project?
I'm sorry.
A Street project?
So we're done with the street maintenance
Any other
program?
questions, council?
The A Street project, that's where we had a manhole at the corner of A Street and 181. That was a leaking manhole. And so we made, of course, notice to the TCQ about that and told them what we were looking to do. We hired Burry Engineering to help us assist in looking at this situation. One of the things was a consideration to actually install another manhole in between the two manholes. It was between B Street and A Street. The length of the line, of the sewer line, was approximately, approximately about 720 feet between manholes. And so one of the suggestions from the engineering firm was to install a manhole in between. That was brought before council for budget amendment, and you all approved that. And so what turned out is that we didn't actually put the manhole in. It turns out that the flow that goes through there is only tied to the two houses that are close to A Street and the business of that's in front of it. And so we're right now investigating why the other area that comes from the Sonic area, the high school and all that, where that water's flowing. So we're still investigating that. Actually tomorrow, we're looking to re-excavate that area and do some more exploratory to understand where the flow goes. So what we did with engineer recommendation was to put a double cleanout for right now and not install a manhole. And so we had to make that decision based on the fact when we were actually had the open excavated hole. So that's where we're at on that.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The new manhole and the double cleanout, which one is more expensive?
The manhole.
But didn't we voted on that?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so did we save money then?
Yes, sir. We will be saving money on that. Do I know the exact number right now? I don't know the exact number right now. We haven't been invoiced, but there will be savings because we're not installing that and not the time to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, the water division, Mr. Vasquez?
On the water division, we're looking at all the wells. What we did is the annual inspection was completed. Per my understanding, prior to I got here, there was a contract for a company to do our tank inspections, and that was done in January 2016. and now we're just waiting for the report on those, our water wells. So that was done. Also, as part of the annual, what we did is our side was, staff was a chlorine injector. Annual maintenance was complete. There was some minor repairs on some of those, the injectors and those things, so that's been complete. The other thing we did was the maintenance of the grounds. We started with new signs, danger, no trespassing. We made them all consistent throughout the water wells, one of the things we did. So we ordered those and put those up. Another things we've had coming in here was the change of the fence locks. We had a bunch of keys, everybody had keys, and so what we went to is now combination locks. And so anytime that we have a change in staff or something that goes on, we're able to change it based on just combination instead of wondering who has a key or who doesn't. So now we've changed that to combination locks, and we change that so as needed. The other thing in the water was the plaza, which you all are aware of, the plaza tank that was installed, the temporary 2 tanks. And so we've been done that, that's operational, that's been tested. The water's running, everything's great so far. The only outstanding issue on there is the painting of the outside of the piping itself. We did start the painting just for the priming so far, and so we anticipate that to be done in about 2 weeks, maybe 3. So that should be complete as far as that. Also, as part of the plaza well, there was 2 booster pumps that were not working very properly. We've had one was actually totally refurbished, and the other one was just a seal situation, and so those are now operational at full. That's the water division.
Okay.
Update.
You want to go on to the wastewater, sir?
Yes. For the wastewater, what we're doing is part of the USDA, we've had the design plan review for the wastewater treatment plant, been working on that, and also the wastewater collection for, specifically for Highway 97, I should say west, and Bajadito, which is off of 181, Highway 181. The lift station, what they're doing there is they're actually rebuilding those 2 and actually replacing 2 new lift stations. And of course, the wastewater treatment plant is part of the process, but we've been working on diligently trying to get those things going so we can be on target for April 14th to close. Is that?
Yes, April 14th.
Okay. So
And after we close, what's the process after that? When do we actually begin construction?
I think the anticipation is 1st of June or late of May, based on the bids.
Yes, June is what we're anticipating on starting the construction. I've reached out to Congressman Prayer's office because we need to have a groundbreaking ceremony, so we don't have that early June. But we should start that process, but it's about 30 to 45 days once we've actually awarded the contract before they come back with all the documents for us to sign, and then we can get started.
Just to let everyone know, this is a major improvement for the city of Floresville. This will take our wastewater needs for approximately 30 years into the future. So that's a big accomplishment.
The other thing on the wastewater division is that we've hired 2 new people, a supervisor in a labor position here recently. Also, with that, like the water wells, we've also changed access areas at the wastewater treatment plant to combination also, so we're trying to be consistent with that. The wastewater treatment plant itself is part of the wastewater. We've had replacement of a clarifier 2. One of the pumps was not working. We've had to replace that. That was approximately about $5,500, one of those pumps to do that, so we've done that. We had to also rebuild one of the aerators, what we call the right, is my understanding. So as you face the racetrack, or what they call the digestion, and of course there's one to the left, one straight in front of me is they call the right, and then we have one up to the far right, which they call the floater, so I just went with it. And so the right one, which is, if you're facing it, well, that one's been refurbished and is operational. The floating one has been rebuilt as far as one shaft on one side, but now the other side has given out, so we're working on that currently right now. So it's not operational fully right now. What we've done is temporarily put another trash pump to cause aeration in there, so that's what we're doing there. The other thing we have is the lift stations at River Park, located infiltration source of water incoming. One of the things is that, coming here, was one of the things that we kept seeing the meter running at River Park. And so we tried to figure out what that source was. We found out it was a source that had been there for a few years, probably approximately 10 years. It was right behind the small pavilion. It was a miscapping of a line. Underneath that was a broken clay line from the sewer, and that's where the infiltration was coming in. And so we found that, and that's been corrected. The other thing we had was some light issues out there, where the actual lift station is for the safety of our employees. Also at night, we wanted to make sure those lights were working properly. Some of the other lights along that area in the parking area to the left as you come in, that was made a little darker for the area, but those have all been corrected. And Highway 97, we rebuilt one pump motor, and we're looking to seek to rebuild the second one. So that's where we're at as far as wastewater. Any questions?
Can I ask one question regarding the water?
Sure.
Years ago, we used to have divers contracted to go into the tanks. Do we still do that?
That has still been, is currently done, but also we can drain the tank if we do the inspections during what we call the winter season, which is right now, that's not the high use. So that would probably be more ideal. What we can do is actually probably like 90% of the water we can return to the system, and then so technically it will be drained, and we'll lose a little percentage, and we can let that go outside drainage to the surface. Not very much, but then they can be more of a visual inspection.
Okay,
So you could do both, but currently, under the contract with the service that's been used, Texas Tank, for the last 3 years, and my understanding, their service agreement is up. The contract this year was the last year, and that's what the procedure they used, was actually using divers.
to use divers?
Yes.
And we still have a contract with them, you said?
No, it's still currently based on the fact that we still haven't received their last report and their last billing.
Oh,
So, but this is, the contract is up based on that. So what we'll be looking to do is have a bid for a new service to do that again for next year.
okay. If you would go on to the Parks Division?
So there's no more questions on wastewater?
No, sir.
Okay, Parks Division, the completion of the Pecan Park and the River Park restrooms, that was part of our renovations there. Completed that, and everybody's pretty excited about it. Hopefully everybody else is too. We're excited about it, it looks nice. The other thing we've done is a new hire of one person, a laborer for that group. The other thing with the Parks Divisions, we've received bids for a skateboard or skate park and Watts Park, which is, some people understand it to be Phelps Park, so I'm trying to keep the names. My understanding it's called Watts Park. For upgrades as requested by FEDC, and understand we'll be talking about that here later this evening, about where that's at.
Yes, there's a change order for that portion of it, and if I could interject for 1 second. I believe 2 councilmen were at the meeting for EDC. EDC did approve, I believe, $24,100 to make improvements for the restrooms. So we'll have the safe facilities at both parks, the skateboard park as well as the Watts Park, to change the bathrooms. But there's some painting and some other woodwork that we need to do, and that's one of the requirements I'm requesting in one of our requests for a budget amendment is that. And then last year, you all said, let's do the bathrooms for Pecan Park and River Park is what they call it. And so we've made that, so that's what that amendment is. I'm not doing 47 is what the amendment is? I'm not doing all that for painting, but it includes what we did for last year in the budget. But those restrooms are up and running, and David has a meeting with the Park Foundation, and they're gonna be doing some things for the gating for the doors with the high school, because there's no doors, but they want like to draw it down so that we can lock them up so people won't vandalize them as much. And they're also gonna be doing some painting to the actual park itself, more like graffiti art on very colorful painting, but the city's not gonna get into that. We're just gonna give them some very nice, clean things to do for the bathroom. But I know that I think Councilman Nieto, you and I had a conversation that your baby girl didn't want to go in the bathroom at the Pecan Park. It's good now, it's all lit. And
It's still missing a stall on one, but it's better.
It's still scary, but it's outdoor bathroom, but it's a whole lot better than what it was before. And so those are complete, and I'm gonna be doing an actual walkthrough tomorrow with staff on the 2 new proposals and going over those, with the building department's involved, the parks involved, and EDC definitely came to the table and opened up the checkbook, because they originally only approved 20,000, and it came in at 24,100.
And we'll be discussing that a little bit more in the budget amendment.
There's a budget amendment, that hopefully, if they approve it, we will be doing the
Based on
painting and the
that.
millwork.
Okay. So then, Masonic Park, what we've done there is widen the entrance driveway. That was one of the requests there, was to accommodate, it was a single vehicle entrance and exit, so now we've made it a 2 vehicle entering and exiting there. And also was the discussion was from TxDOT was on the south side to put up no parking signs. And so we've done that too on the south side of 97 East, as again requested by TxDOT. River Park, request has been made to mow more frequently for the Little Leagues, and we're looking to do that. One of the things we're also looking to do is to edge the inner play areas of the field, so we're looking to do that, hopefully start that tomorrow, and then we'll look at how we can meet their frequency needs, so we're still discussing that with them. Skateboard or skate park, cleared some low-lying limbs there close to where 8th Street is, which we're considering the southeast corner. Cleared those areas, that was part of, we noticed that during the tornado one, they also, the foundation, Parks Foundation asked us to do that, to clean it up a little bit, so we did that with them. Actually, they came out and helped out too, so staff and us, we did that. Another thing they've asked for us is to install a light closer to the skateboard or skate park itself area, so we're looking to do that. We've talked to, Ms. Turner and I have talked about that, and she's approached Phelps about that, we're looking to do that. What we've asked from the Parks Foundation is just give us an idea where they think they want it, so we're going to be working with them closely on that. Next page is a typo, that was just a slight carryover, just if you're looking at the document. The other thing is the Pecan Park, we have installed some infant swings, they're colorful and different, and so, and then also some flat swings. We've installed those, we've actually changed the whole connection, the chains and
You
everything.
see flat screens?
Flat swings,
Oh, flat screens.
yeah, so that it's not for the infants, it's for the older kids and teenagers, toddlers type of things, not infants. And so the infants are different colors, it's red, blue, and yellow is out there now, so it's a little bit more colorful. And that's what I have for the parks.
Okay. Move on to training.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
once again, here we go again we're working on all these parks, but still we're leaving out Lodi Park. Is Lodi perfectly good, or that?
No, it's one of the things we're gonna be talking with, and Ms. Turner and I are gonna be doing that. When she mentioned staff, we're gonna go look at that tomorrow ourselves, her and I. We're looking.
We're gonna spend some time at Lodi, because
But I
heard you the last time. We had an incident with a car and the police at the fence, and the fence was damaged. We did attempt to put in we attempted to put in an insurance claim against that car that hit our fence. And so the insurance company said it wasn't worth our deductible for us to put in a claim. But I'm going there tomorrow so that we can talk about it. Now, the cost for the painting for the 2 projects at Skate Park and Watts is only about $10,000. So I'm asking for twice as much because I want to put at least some funding into Lodi as well. So we're going there tomorrow. We're going to see what we can do to repair. I've reached out to M&S to talk about, as we talk about in the park planning, what can I do right now, what do they suggest? And so we're going to see. So we're not going to leave out Lodi, but I just don't have any numbers for you right now, what we can spend on Lodi. But the fence is definitely something we're going to have to address, because that car hit not only our fence, but the fence at the church playground. It damaged that fence as well. So we're going to go back and see, but Lodi will get some attention and love this budget year.
I think, excuse me, Mr. Ortiz, that's the approach to taking it, because it's not really, right now it's not a park, it's a basketball court there with a set of bathrooms, not even if they're functional. So we need to look at revisiting the whole park. I mean, and this is really, a pad of cement, so we can't really call it a park.
Yeah,
Right?
but
some data seen and some dirt
Well,
around.
we're looking for some recommendation from our park plan that's gonna be coming forward to see what we can do. Now, there is some land that's adjacent to it that the county is willing to donate to the city if we pay the back whatever they have to do for their cost. And there's some, because they're really not lots you can use for us, and so we're gonna see if we can acquire those and then see if we can use those for a smaller play lot. But right now, it's just a basketball court and the bathrooms. But the fencing needs to be taken care of. The lights, we keep putting the lights up there, but the copper seems to keep disappearing. And so we need to think about some other suggestions we can do, but we do want to spend some funds and some money at Lodi.
Mr. Vasquez, we want to training, sir?
Yes, Council. We're doing some cross-training again through our water and wastewater personnel, working closely together. Examples is like these pumps that have been down or are not functioning correctly. I've asked both groups to work with each other so we can get some better cross-training. So that's been going on here since I've been here. We've had that going on, and then also, and then two line items down. Also, we're attending different TCQ seminars going on. I do have at least one of each group coming in, not just water or wastewater. It pertains to water. I at least try to have one wastewater personnel. If it pertains to wastewater, I'm trying to get at least one water person so we can get some cross-training there. The other thing we're doing is, as we talked about, is equipment. Right now, one of the things we've done is our front-end loader. We actually have somebody that's been cross-training on that and actually has started utilizing that, and we're out on the road the other day. I kind of kid around with them. I said, hey, yeah, you almost ran me over, but we were just kidding around. But that has been going on. The other thing I didn't put on here is what we're looking to do is cross-training on our shredder mower. That'll be forthcoming here, hopefully next month. And so we're looking at that. The other thing, I'm sorry.
Mr. Vasquez, one of the things that we talked about last summer was having somebody licensed in herbicide.
Right, that's another thing I'm looking at. Right now, currently, nobody really wants to step up to that. I'm trying to convince somebody to do that. If not, I guess it's gonna default to me. I really don't want to be doing that as myself. I really think it needs to be a staff person, and so we're looking to do that. I'm not there yet on that, but it's something I'm looking to do. Find somebody. So I'm working with somebody talking on that, so I'm trying to get that going. So that hasn't been overlooked. It's just haven't got to it. Just like the Lodi Park is not something we're overlooking. We just can't get to it immediately, but it's something we will be looking at.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. The other thing we had was TCQ, some training. There was the workshop actually in Austin, on December 2nd, 2015. There's some new sampling requirements that are coming in. Some new requirements requiring basically the city of Floresville. We used to have 8 sampling sites. A letter came in to the mayor saying basically we need to have 9 sampling sites. That was part of the inspection back in, I think, July. Don't quote me exactly what month they were here, but that was one of the recommendations. We started in September implementing that. We identified an extra sampling site, 9. We have till the end of this month, February 2016, to actually identify and start. We've actually started earlier, so we're ahead of that. The other thing that's due by March 31st is to identify these new sampling points, and then also to identify what they call 5 upstream and 5 downstream sample points. And this is the new rules. They're just following EPA guidelines, so we're looking at that. We need to turn in that plan by March 31st. We're currently working with M&S Engineering to update some drawings for us. Because one of the things that part of the application or part of the submittal is that we identify this on a map, so they're going to be helping us do that, and we will have that done. That's one of the goal things that I'm working on with staff. The other thing we had was on the same subject. We had what was called a webcast here. We had that actually in the conference room here. We had water and wastewater staff show up for that, and so it went from about 11 till about 2 in the afternoon, and so we've done that cross. It was a summary based on the same meeting from December 2nd, so we've looked at that. And then there was another training for what's called the wastewater systems budgeting. I attended that myself, and so we're still looking at things for small domestic wastewater systems. And then we've had, working with HR, TML, education and training. We had our first kickoff meeting
Any other questions, council? If not, we'll go on to new business. Ms. Comptroller, we can have a few minutes of your time.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, sir. Very good. Council, as you know, we've discussed these 3 next items in previous meetings. Item 3A, consideration and action to approve ordinance 2016-004 to budget tax note proceeds for USDA water, sewer projects, and capital improvements. This is budget amendment number 2 for 2015-2016 budget.
Basically, this budget amendment will be for me to go ahead and record these money on the budget, on the revenue and expenditure portion of each fund. These 3 funds are brand new funds. We created these funds so that way we can properly track the money that is going to be ACH from USDA for the sewer plant. So the initial money that we put in there was the money that we got from the tax note to pay the engineers. So that's the money that I need to allocate, the coming in of the money and also the expenditure.
Any discussion, council, on this? This is something we talked about a couple of months ago. If not, can we have a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Since this is an ordinance, can you make a motion, just read that bolded caption of the very top of the ordinance?
From the agenda or from the actual?
From the actual ordinance.
Okay, I move to approve ordinance number 2016-004, an ordinance providing for amendment number 2 to the operating budget of the city of Floresville, Texas for fiscal year 2015-2016.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Motion by Miller, second by Nieto. I'm going to open up the floor for any community discussion. Citizens' comments, any comments, any discussion? Any questions? If not, let's have a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Raise your right hand, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Next item, consideration and action to approve ordinance 2016-05, signage for handheld device ordinance. This is budget amendment number 3 for 2015-2016 budget. Council, also we discussed this when we passed the ordinance.
Yes, this budget is to comply with the ordinance previously approved and purchase the signs. They were at the beginning estimated to be lower, but because of the requirement of tech staff, we needed to increase the amount. Any questions?
Any questions, any comments? If not, can we have a motion?
So move.
Is there a second to that motion? If you want to read the
Yes,
ordinance.
sir. Ordinance number 2016-005, an ordinance providing for amendment number 3 to the operating budget of the city of Floresville, Texas for fiscal year 2015-2016. Thank you, Ms. Mayor.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
I'll open up the floor for citizens' comments. Yes, ma'am?
I'd like to ask 2 questions. What kind of money are we talking about?
$5,200.
5,000. This ordinance has been in place for, 3 months?
I believe since, was it January?
January 11th, approximately.
I was thinking it was December. How has it been enforced? And what have we collected in,
I don't know, Do we have that information?
That was a question that was on the agenda at the last meeting, and the chief reported that they had issued only, I believe, 2 warnings, but there have not been any citations issued with a penalty.
I drive around Floresville all day, and I see people on the phone. And if you have to spend $5,000 to comply with TxDOT requirements for the,
Signage.
yeah, that says we're doing this,
Yes, ma'am.
it seems to me if they enforce the ordinance, you can make up that $5,000 right quick.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are we gonna do about getting it enforced?
Well, you cannot enforce it until you put the signs.
There's already little signs.
The signs are up and in.
The signs are up, but we couldn't enforce it until the signs were up.
They've been there for a long time.
I will bring that to the chief's attention at the staff meeting on Tuesday and let him know that we need to make sure